The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse, on location at the Genesee Brewhouse at their spot just north of the Inner Loop on St. Paul Street in the city of Rochester. I'm Toby Motyka, replacing Bill Pucko for yet another week. He's still taking some time to himself, joined by some folks who are not taking some time to themselves. Mike Catalana, 13 WHAM Sports.
Good to be here.
Pat Duffy, WCMF, the Breakroom, 96.5. How's it going?
So great.
It's going great. Blue Jays time.
1988 batting, Jersey. It's spring training time, buddy.
A little snug.
I didn't think so, but that's fine.
And Kevin Oklobzija, Rochester Business Journal, PickandSplinters.com, and formerly of the Democratic Chronicle. Let's get right into something that you know a little bit about. The Buffalo Sabres. I feel like we're beating a dead horse here a little bit, but that's also an appropriate analogy at this point. It's just kind of getting out of control with this team. What do they do right now as the playoffs are basically out of the picture at this point?
Just what they're doing. They've given up. And they really have. Some of their, they open up the lead against Edmonton and just quit playing. How about those two teams? They both tanked the same time frame. They got, one of them's going to get McDavid, the other's a consolation prize, Eichel. Tanking works, doesn't it? Neither team.
You're going to start that. You're going to go down that road. The tanking doesn't work.
I'm just saying.
It worked for Edmonton for a year.
Unless you have someone in charge who knows what they're doing, and they didn't.
Well, that's the problem. It wasn't the tank that was the issue. It was GMTM deciding we're going to go for it all like 8 hours after they finished tanking. What are you doing? And then you bring in Evander Kane to be the veteran leader in your dressing room? What are you, out of your mind?
He wasn't supposed to be the leader.
He ended up being it last season.
Well, he might have been better than the one they had.
Watch your mouth, turtleneck.
I know the guy can play, but I don't know if he's a leader.
You're segueing right into it for me. How much of this falls on the captain?
Nope, doesn't fall on him this year. He's played great this year. He's played great in big moments. He has carried that team. The problems with this team are not Jack Eichel.
I don't know if he's a leader in the room. I don't know that. I know on the ice you're right. At big times when they've needed someone to say, hey, follow me, he's done that. So a whole lot more of the onus is on other people. I don't know about Phil Housley. Is he the right guy? I don't know. And everybody talks, you got to have a fiery guy behind the bench. No. And you don't. But I think you need a little more emotion than he has.
I watched.
Maybe not. But I'm just looking at it from an outsider's view now, and that's what I'm seeing.
I watched this team play, and it snowballs on them so fast. Yeah. That Edmonton game specifically.
Fragile would be the best word to describe.
So coach, players, who's that on? That's got to be on somebody.
Okay, part of it's fragile, but I also think you're exposing how shallow your team is based on those quick goals. Listen, over the last 5 games, they've given up 2 to 3 goals within 4 minutes, 5 out of the last 6 games, which is insanity. But when you stand back and look at it from a roster point of view, right, you have your top line that you can rely on and a top pair of D-men now in Montour and Dahlin that you're confident everything's going to be just fine. Everything behind that is a complete tire fire, right? The only glimmers of hope.
They're better than they were.
But that's my point, right? So, of course, when you're changing lines after giving up goals, well, you're putting a worse product on the ice every time, which will lead to more problems.
I will say this. I'm not looking at this half full because it's been a bad year, but I'll make the golf analogy for you. The guys who can succeed in golf are the guys who can score low, who can go really low. The guy who's close to par struggles. This hockey team can go birdies. They have elite talent on this team, but when they're bad, they're double bogey. I will take that. Does this make sense? You know what you have.
Sure.
And
do they have that much elite talent?
You don't think they do?
They have some elite talent. I think you're talking about a defenseman.
Dahlin will be, and Eichel is.
Will be. Okay, and you keep Skinner, and I think Reinhardt is a very good player.
I think he's gone.
No, what are you talking?
It has nothing to do with how much they try to keep him. I really don't think. Why would you sign there if you're him?
I think he likes being in Buffalo.
He's right down the street from town.
I think he loved being in L.A. or love being in another
everybody
big market.
talks about it. Nobody wants to be in L.A.
No.
Nobody
look what's going on
in L.A.
You have a center, the best center you ever played with, who you're having a career year with. You're like 7 minutes from home, yet you're making American money. Why would you not want to be in Buffalo?
I'm just that's my read.
He just said, why would you not want to be in Buffalo?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna
Flip
be-
that.
And if he signs, then they're over the hump. Then they've proven, okay, what we have here will sell and people are buying in. I just don't see people buying in right now.
Segue. Why would you not want to be in Buffalo? We're going to talk the Bills' free agent hopes next on the Rochester Press Box.
The Press Box is brought to you in part by Bay & Goodman Pizza, a local Rochester favorite. Corner of North Winton and Browncroft, Bay & Goodman Pizza.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brew House. At the Genesee Brew House, let's get right into Bills free agency. It starts in just a few days.
Yeah.
Brandon Beane has said they're going to be judicious, but does that mean they aren't going to make any sort of impact in free agency?
Oh, no, I think they will, and I think there's going to be players out there. Now, the specific guys, everybody sees, offensive linemen that they love. Are they going to make a big play for a tackle? Are they going to go? I think they're going to be in on several players, but I do think you need to be smart. I think it's a matter of setting yourself up in stages. I do not see them going big money on players. That's not the way they operate. And you would really have to overpay guys, I believe, that have multiple options to play, right? If you're a guy that the league is looking at you, I don't know if Buffalo is your choice unless you overpay. And I don't think they're going to overpay.
Goes back to what you were saying about the Sabres, right? Why would you not want to come to Buffalo?
Well, the Sabres have an advantage, and I think this is the case, in proximity to where they are in the country for hockey, that I think works pretty well. I don't know if that necessarily works for football. But then again, what the Bills have going for them is if players talk to guys, veterans who have signed here, who I believe minds have been changed since they've been in Buffalo. Micah Hyde would be an example, even though he signed for the money, but he's enjoying it because of what they seem to be building.
Listen, this is the make or break year for McBean, not only because they said it's a 3-year deal, but they're following a similar pattern of the previous GM and head coach regimes, right? Improvement. Now we have an opportunity to really put our stamp on this team. What are we going to do? And like Mike said, most of the GMs, all of them, and coaches have gone out and overpaid guys to come. You're caught in a weird catch-22 because you promised me success by year 3. Right? Yet, if you go out and overpay for that success, you're dooming this franchise for the next 3 to 5 years all over again. So what are you supposed to do? You know the expectations are here now. You think that you have enough pieces on this roster to be competitive in the AFC. And when I say competitive, make the playoffs. But if you don't do that because you want to keep with this plan that you have, how are we going to justify a year 4 or 5 here?
Well, that's what everyone seems to be concentrating on at this point is the expectation that, okay, you took a step back last year. We all got that. Looks like they may have gotten their quarterback. This has to be the year that they make the playoffs, right? Fans were willing to accept a step backwards last year, but not this time around, right?
Unless they really see improvement. And what if they're 9-7, don't make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think then that is definitely the step. If you're 9-7 and everybody believes, internally and externally that you can make that next step, then it's great. If 9-7 seems to be max, which we saw a couple of years ago, then no, it's not progress.
What do you want to see them do as a fan? What do you want to see the Bills do?
I want to see them. I don't even know, to be completely honest with you. Because, look, if I'm being completely sincere, over the last 5 years, they've done everything they can do. They went out and they got their franchise quarterback, right? They've spent big money on free agents. They found guys that ended up being bargain guys. They drafted halfway decent. I mean, look, you look at the AFC-NFC Championship weekend. You had, 5 Buffalo Bills draft picks playing prominent roles on the 4 teams that were playing on the second final weekend of the NFL. So, again, I'm at the point where I think maybe this franchise is just cursed. Maybe it's just never going to be successful.
But let's look at what the guys they brought in, and some were the previous regime and some the current ones. When you start looking at players that make no buzz at all, and Hyde was one of those. It was like, oh yeah, Micah Hyde, he's a pretty good player. Jordan Poyer was a nobody that came in to play. Lorenzo Alexander, Rex brought him in Whaley as a special teams guy, and he's been so valuable to them. That can happen. And then you grab guys like Levi Wallace, who looks like he could play if they want to keep somebody like that around. I'm saying is sometimes the thing that makes a splash in football does not pan out, and it's the under-the-radar guys that are better.
But you need the splashes to make the next step, because all of those guys you named are fine football players. Those are guys I want on my team. Those are guys that contribute. But are any of them legitimate game changers?
How often does an NFL team, who are these guys that are free
Did the
agents?
Patriots bring in Gilmore to be a star?
I mean, they paid him like it.
They paid him like a star, which is a rarity for them. And I have to say, he's performed
Yes,
like what
he has performed, but I just thought he was more of that ancillary addition who blossomed. So I kind of agree that some of the guys who fly under the radar are the guys that you end up, building. I can't say building around, but are a big part of what you do build.
Okay, you talk about the Patriots. Trey Flowers. Now, they haven't done anything yet. They certainly could still sign him. He's a young guy, effective pass rusher. New England has sort of let him out there a little bit. If you're the Bills, do you spend your money there, steal the top pass rusher from your rival? That would be a splash.
It would certainly be a counterattack to what the Patriots normally like to do to them. Like it or not, when we come back on the Rochester Press Box.
Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Today is all about belief. Right? It's not enough for me to believe it. It's not enough for Coach Hill or Coach Barstrom to believe it. You have to be the ones that believe that you are capable of running the way that we all know you are capable of, and that those negative thoughts that are coming into your head, you can acknowledge and push away. What's your response to them going to be? 5 more meters, 5 more meters, 5 more meters.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Hey, welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House at the Genesee Brew House. Time for Like It or Not. Let's start with football. Kyler Murray, Charlie Casserly, NFL Network, talking about teams kind of dumping on his performance at the Combine. Like it or not?
Absurd. I think it's just petty jealousy. Here's a guy who, I'm not going to work out. I'll get the measurements done. I'll be there, but I'm not going through all your stupid little drills. You know what I can do. And they're all just saying, oh, no, you don't. This is our league. You're going to do it our way. None of these young bucks coming in here and rocking the boot.
I love how he thinks he's doing a voice, but it actually sounds exactly what he talks like.
But they weren't dumping on him. But they weren't dumping on him for. They were dumping on him for in the meeting rooms, which we know is probably the more important part, especially as a quarterback. They love throwing those guys up on the board and say, "Tell us what you can do." If that's the case, I think that would give a lot of teams.
Are you
pause.
a leader in a room in an interview? Do you get leadership out of that? Maybe. I mean, granted, these guys do that all the time, so that's how they.
It hasn't been very impressive in his television appearances. Can't speak to what he's doing behind closed doors, but the TV appearances have been a little bit rough. Like it or not,
I don't
Mike,
mind him in the huddle if he just goes, you know what, let's just go like this, and we'll score a touchdown. And they do. That's fine.
Worked out well in college. I don't know. We'll
Worked out
see.
really well.
Time will tell. He's probably going number 1 overall. Like it or not, Bryce Harper, your newest Philadelphia Philly, lobbying for Mike Trout to come join him.
Wow, it means nothing at all. It's a couple of years from now. He's a guy talking, and Harper hasn't taken an at-bat yet. The league will say something to him.
Right.
In my opinion, it goes against the Major League Baseball policy of actually talking about Mike Trout, the best player in baseball that nobody knows anything
Baseball
about.
should be thankful for this,
Right, it gives him some more attention. First of all, let's be honest. Bryce Harper could be texting Mike Trout every day saying, please sign with the Phillies, please sign with the Phillies, and nobody can do anything about it. So he says it publicly. You really shouldn't be talking about another player under contract to another team. I think they'll basically gently slap him on the wrist, say, don't say that anymore. But it does give attention to a player. What sport has a player that great?
Is there danger that this becomes like the NBA, where players on their own decide where they're going to go and build a dynasty?
But why would that be a problem for Major League Baseball?
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, does it become like the NBA?
And baseball is not like Major League Baseball. I mean, you say that again.
Yeah, no, you got that. You're
It's
totally
not
young,
like
not old.
it's not like the NBA in the sense of 1 or 2 great players can make a huge difference. Look, Mike Trout is the best player in baseball, and his team stinks. Right. So it doesn't always work that way. But first of all, Bryce Harper's trying to recruit people. 2 years from now, who knows how that will be working out with the Phillies? Might be working out great, and Trout can't wait to come there. It's 2 years away. Relax about it.
Oh,
Or
newborn
Philly.
babies will be teenagers by the time that his contract runs out.
That's true.
Like it or not, Pat, UFC come to the Blue Cross Arena in a couple of months. Here.
I'm actually really excited about this, and I'm not even a UFC guy. I mean, listen, Rochester for decades was a huge fight town, a big boxing town. You had big names coming out of the greater Rochester area doing that thing, and they would.
Not only that, but they brought big people. Aaron Pryor on the comeback, but George Foreman on his next comeback.
Yep, and you had Hasim Rahman training here for years and years and years and years. I think that Rochester has a thirst for this, combat sports. I think that it's going to be very successful downtown. And I mean, listen, anything you can do to help out the Blue Cross Arena, to help out the sports scene in Rochester is fantastic. Plus, you have John Jones on his way back up from the stuff that he's been dealing with. That could be potential. And then that kid out of Webster,
Gregor Gillespie.
Greg, he has a potential to be fighting on that card as well. So yeah, I think this is great all the way through.
Is that name what appears on the fight card? Gregor McGreggy?
Please don't tell him I said that because he looks like he can hurt me.
He will destroy you.
I don't like it.
I covered him at the state wrestling meet in Albany.
Really?
Wow.
His senior year.
Are you talking about Aaron Pryor?
No.
Oh.
George Foreman.
George Foreman. He was a light heavyweight.
Unfinished business when we come back on the Rochester Press Box.
And now here's this week's MVP Experience Stat of the Week, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy. No appointment ever needed.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Get 2 for 2 egg and cheese wraps, 2 for 4 bagels with cream cheese spread, and 2 for 5 bacon, egg, and cheese croissants with Dunkin' Go-Tos. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House at the Genesee Brew House. This segment brought to you by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Time for unfinished business. Pat, take it away.
There's a comment made earlier in the show that Major League Baseball is not like the NBA, or was it baseball is not like baseball? Anyway, that when you play in Major League Baseball, you need more than one star to be successful. Well, it turns out you might need that in the NBA now too, because you have not seen a team mismanage talent like the Los Angeles Lakers have mismanaged their roster with LeBron James this season. Let's back it up. You sign LeBron James and make a huge splash, and you have an opportunity to take a couple of young pieces that may not factor going into the future, send them to San Antonio to pick up Kawhi Leonard immediately. And what do the Lakers do? We believe in these guys, and LeBron is here for the long haul, and we're ready to roll. And Kawhi gets away, and now he's in Toronto, and he's not coming to Los Angeles when he's a free agent again. And those same players that you were willing to trade, all of a sudden, when things don't go well, LeBron wants them out of town. And you now have the opportunity, second chance, who gets those? To bring Anthony Davis in for those same players. And somehow Magic Johnson manages to screw that up too, combined with LeBron James, who gets a little arrogant with the power that he thinks he has with his agent. Long story, bottom line is this. The Lakers are going to miss the playoffs this year with arguably the best player in the NBA. All because Magic Johnson has no idea what he's doing, and it's not getting any better from this point. Because if I'm a free agent, star basketball player in the NBA right now, why am I subjecting myself to mismanagement and a guy that could have me gone at any moment? This experience is a failure, and it's going to be a failure moving forward.
I'm stunned. I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
Yeah. Well, no, not that. But
You said
I agree
agree.
with
Too
what you
late.
said.
You already said agree.
We're moving on from that last part there.
I was told on ESPN they'd be the fifth place team if LeBron hadn't gotten hurt.
What do you know?
Just what I was told. Bob Matthews returned to the airwaves on WHAM this week on the radio, and that's good news for Rochester sports fans. Nobody in this town supports local sports and has for as long as he has. And if you're going to hear about local sports and you want to hear about your Wings and talk about them and join the conversation, it's about the only place you can do it. So Bob, while out rehabbing after a broken ankle, welcome back.
And welcome to no longer filling in for Bob Matthews.
That's not so good. I could use the income.
Yeah, you gotta buy more turtlenecks.
Exactly. Is this winter ever going to end? I like to be warm.
Punxsutawney Phil is a liar.
Excuse me. I believe we're on his lawn right now. Can I say that? Am I? Okay.
Bring a shovel.
All right, here we go. I got to talk about free agency again in a different way. Look, the NFL is different than football or Major League Baseball or the NBA because sometimes the moves, you may be confused by them, or sometimes a team makes a big splash and you think it works and then it doesn't work. But I got to tell you, somebody's got to tell me what the New York Giants are doing. Look, the Giants have had great success through the years and they've won Super Bowls. But right now, Landon Collins is going. Landon Collins has been a Pro Bowl and All-Pro safety for them. He's a free agent. They're letting him walk. This is one of the top young players and a leader of that franchise, and he's going. They're talking about dealing Beckham, maybe Olivier Vernon, those guys, I don't know. But let's be honest. The elephant in the room is Eli, right? The guy's making a fortune. They have not made a play for another quarterback. Now, look, maybe they have a great plan. Maybe they're going to draft somebody. Maybe they're going to sign one of these other free agent quarterbacks. Maybe they're going to move on from him. But Giants, make a decision one way or the other. Either you're rebuilding and Eli is out, or you're going to go with the veterans and your top talent. And Landon Collins should have been in. Sorry, Giants fan.
I don't want to talk about it. And just a quick update, they don't have a master plan right now.
It doesn't seem like it. Now, again, we have seen times when teams get criticized and then you turn around and it ends up working. Let's see if this one works.
All right, I hope so. All right, that's going to do it for us on the Rochester Press Box. Kevin, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Mike, see you soon. Pat.
Yeah, whatever.
Nice shirt. Thanks. Nice jersey. Thank you. Join us next time on the Rochester Press Box.